Diaz Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking smack addict, right? Orale. And as you can tell by that thumbnail right there, yes indeedy, we're going to get to the Bay Area. See, if you're in California, there's a north and there's a south, and then there's a central valle, but there's also a Bay Area, right? The Yay Area, Orale 40, right? It's time to go to the Bay and take a trip to one of the most vicious and treacherous, the most treacherous county jail in all of California. Now, I know we have down south LA County Jail, and man, by far, historically, that's been the one, right? But up north, we have a county jail called Santa Rita. Okay, and Santa Rita is also a notorious jail, and I'm going to tell you why. In a menudo style, direct fashion, we're going to get right to it, but even before that, I will say that being in the Bay Area is very diverse. You got a little bit of everything. You got Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, fucking El Salvadorians. You got people from Latin America, Central America, a lot of Latinos, and a lot of Africanos. Okay, you got a lot of Kumi 415, Jamas. You just have a lot, it's a different makeup. In that fashion, okay? You don't necessarily have as many Crips or Bloods in the Bay Area. There are a few towns with a few Blood sets, a few Crip sets, but for the most part, everyone claims the Bay Area. They claim their turf. They claim the street that they dwelled on. This is what happens, okay? So everybody from this certain area in the Bay Area goes to a county jail, okay? And I'm not going to say the whole Bay, because let's get the Bay is big. Yay, it's big. But we're talking about Oakland, Richmond, San Pablo, that whole area right there, which is probably the deep East Bay and the surrounding areas. They go to a county jail called Santa Rita. Now, Santa Rita is synonymous with the streets. Means that anyone that's in the Bay Area gangbanging, wiggling out there in the D game, doing their things, hey, the wind's blowing to Santa Rita. You're going to end up there, okay? It's a very big county jail, and it's been established and around for a very long time. Now, any homeboy that I've ever met out of the Bay, they say, oh yeah, I did time in Santa Rita. It was nothing. Wasn't nothing to it but to do it. I got my mom right, homie, so I shine right. All right, that's right. But the political makeup and what goes into Santa Rita County Jail is a lot different than any other place. You see, this is like a hub. This is a lot of different cities in a big area going to one place. So an enemiga that you have, if you're in the game like that, if you're really wiggling, if you're activating, you function, if you're getting activated, right? More than likely, you're going to run into this cat. Now, of course, they keep people just like any other county jail separated by pods. You'll have the active Sureño pod. You'll have the active Norteño pod. You'll have the one area of the blacks over here. You'll have, you'll have general population. This is how they do it. And of course, they'll have protective custody, SNY type individuals in their own pod. Because they ain't coming out with no one. No, they're wearing that red. They're over there. But the reason why I wanted to touch on Santa Rita County Jail is not necessarily by the way it's ran by the inmates or convicts, because they're going to conduct themselves as such. They're going to conduct themselves like it's a stepping stone to prison. A lot of these individuals are return offenders. They've been in and out of prison their whole life. And a lot of them are with them activities. They're with the business, meaning that they already know what time it is. This ain't their first rodeo. This ain't their first, I don't see nothing wrong with the little bump. This ain't their first bump and grind. You know what I mean? They've been doing this. This is the Bay Area. Quietly as it's kept, for those of you that don't know, the Bay wiggles, and they're innovators of a lot. They have their own stilo. They have their own flavor. They have their own get down. And they have a lot of history, okay? And not necessarily gang-related history. I'm saying history in the Mac Pimp game. I'm saying history in the D game. I'm saying history as a productive person. Just a lot. And like I say, being very diverse, you get to meet a lot of people and you become accustomed to a lot of different ways and a lot of different wiggleizations. So when everyone meets up at the Santa Rita County Jail, the funk is on. It's funk season. Now's the reason, right? Now, I know, speaking to a lot of Norteños, as I function side by side with a lot of homies from that Bay, they told me about Santa Rita. They told me stories about Santa Rita. Vatos getting whacked there left and right. The way it functions, the way it proceeds, meaning that it's up to par in everything it does. Now, you would trip out because I know the Central Valley says, good work. We're up to par, right? I know in Merced County Jail, 3-4 block, that's Norteño active block. The functionalities are real. We're talking about Pelican Bay corporate shit. So I can only imagine in a bigger city, a bigger area, a lot more homeboys gathered in one spot, that it would be some real shit. Now I know we have removals all the time in Merced County Jail, right? And I'm not trying to speak too much on what goes into a removal and why, you know what I mean? But I will say that allegedly, right? There's a lot happening in Merced. So I can only imagine a place like Santa Rita that's notorious for that, okay? But it happens. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure people are wiggling. See, there's also another gang, as you can tell by that thumbnail, that's out there in Oakland that's really been having their flag planted for a long time, that's really been proceeding in the fashion that they do, and that's the BBs, the Border Brothers. And I'm going to get into an extensive history on them like I did my first channel. But at the same time, in the meantime, in between time, I will say that they function in Santa Rita pretty thick. You know, they also have their own pod. You know, they have to be kept separated from north and south. They're sort of like the Perros. Stand up, Fresno. They're sort of like the Bulldogs, whereas they wear mostly black and they don't get along with north or south. At one point in time, they did get along with both groups. Meaning, you know, so if I'm over here and the shit's all good, if I'm over here, north, right? So they were able to wiggle. But eventually in the city of Oakland and the surrounding areas got accustomed to the fact that they were just doing their own thing. They were more into their hood. They were more into the D game. That's what the Border Brothers are all about. People hear the word Border Brothers and thinking automatically paisitas or you know, vatos that are working in the fields. And Charlie, man, this is just a hood that just happen to identify themselves with that name BBs. You know, they are derived, yes, from a vato from Tijuas that did start them, but eventually, man, they became Chicano over time. You know, whitewashed. Nah, I'm just kidding. But so Trip. Santa Rita County Jail got on my radar, and I wanted to speak on it based on not only the fact that there's a lot of different gangs and a lot of different people that go there, but it is one of the most notorious county jails concerning deaths. Okay, if you look over a 10-year span, it seems like a lot of people are coming up short there. They're coming up short, whether it be by self-infliction, overdosing, removals, pegadas, whatever the case might be. It seems like the rate of deaths, of the death toll in Santa Rita County Jail is by far more than a lot of other county jails in bigger cities. And then you ask yourself, why is that? I know they're not out there in the Bay Area wiggling like that. Well, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say that quite yet. Motherfuckers are down for their crown. But at the same time, it's the way that that county jail is ran. See, when there's no reform, when there's no programs put in place to help an individual, it's just a breeding ground for tragedy. It's a breeding ground for... You started this gangster shit? Is this the motherfucking thanks I get? Bang, bang. That's what it is. It's a gladiator pit, okay? You take a lot of these hardcore gang members that are really out there, and then you take a lot of these dope fiend drug addicts that are off the pills, right? And you throw them all in one spot. What do you think is going to happen? Well, there's going to be a lot of tempers flaring. There's going to be a lot of disappointed individuals. There's going to be a lot of beat up motherfuckers, right? And what happens is from time to time, someone takes it a little too far, or I can't take this, I can't help myself, and they jump off the tip. Things happen, and deaths occur, okay? And that's because the administration or whoever is running this jail, and I'm not here to disrespect the sheriffs or whatever, but I will, bang, bang. And I'll say this, that it's just not being ran up to par. They're not being focused on. There's no reform. There's no rehabilitation. There's none of that from what I can see, okay? And with that, it becomes synonymous with death, because if you let a whole bunch of gangbangers, if you let a whole bunch of individuals that are really cutthroatish and they're out there in the streets really getting it in a dog-eat-dog world, Fresno, right? In a dog-eat-dog world, what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Only the strong will survive, and those that are not able to hang in the reindeer games, guess what? Poor Rudolph. Orale. And in that fashion, you know, allegedly, they come up short. So sitting back, talking about Santa Rita with a couple people, man, and hearing the war stories and things that have went on, I tripped. I tripped because I started to do my due diligence, my research, yes, indeedy, my due process. And as reading and looking into it and Google's great. Doing that, I come to find out that the death rate was the highest in the state of California concerning county jails. And that tripped me out because we all hear the horror stories about LA County. Ain't no one trying to go there, man. You know, period. Plain and simple. Especially me. What are they, LA? I'm just not trying to do it. And at the same time, you got a lot of other county jails like Fresno County Jail, Stanislaus County, Santa Clara County, Free Cane. You got a lot of different places, Monterey County. I can't forget the homies from Salas, where it's very notorious and different. But at the end of the day, the Santa Rita Jail has just been known to get off. You know, I've seen several things online. I've spoken with a lot of homeboys that have been there that tell me it's just like your average county jail. The makeup of it is several different pods, like I said, where they house all kinds of different gang members everywhere, or anyone different. But at the same time, when you hit that yard, there's a big yard there. When you hit that yard, you have to be on point. In a general population yard, just like prison, and it looks similar to a prison yard, you're gonna have your different group segments. You're gonna have Crips over here, your Bloods. Being it's the Bay Area, of course, you're gonna have your Kumi 415s. They're very thick. For those of you that don't know who Kumi 415s are, they're a mix of a lot of Africanos from a lot of different turfs in the Bay, the East Bay, South Bay, North Bay, that come together under one umbrella to represent Kumi, which is basically the old numbering for 415, right? Which is synonymous with old school Frisco, Oakland shit. You know what I mean? To the 415, to the 510, I know that a lot of area codes have changed, but because 415 is well known to be that Frisco area code, a lot of people stuck with that and they ran with it. It's synonymous, like I said, with old school Bay. Yay, area shit. Anyway, so they fall under that umbrella and they function. Okay, they function a little bit differently than, say, the old school Jama Cats that were like BGF and hardcore brothers. These ones are a little bit more boisterous. They're a little hyphy. Their wiggle is real, right? And they're deep. You got to understand, this is the Bay Area. They're deep. Oakland, Richmond, Hayward, San Leandro, all these areas. So you got a big influence of Africanos. You'll find the same thing in San Quentin. There's just a lot of brothers. Ain't nothing wrong with it. So let's get you better with that fast. And then, of course, you'll have one of the most predominant groups, Latinos in Northern California, the Norteños, who function up to par as they should. We're not going to get into their whole wiggle because that's not our business. But at the same time, they are very structured up and they're doing their thing. Believe, all eyes on me. Everybody's watching to see how they move. Everyone goes based off of what the Norteños do on yards like that are predominantly northern yards, just based on, you know what I mean? They're going to make shit happen. Whatever they do is what counts. And I'm not saying no one else counts, but Sasuke, they make it count. So they're doing their thing right there. And then these other groups are all sprinkled in. Now, of course, you're not going to have a Norteño yard where they function in county jail with Southsiders. Or they function in, I wish, one day, hopefully, right? But you're not going to have that, or the BBs, which are, like I said, another predominant group out there. Based on, it's a county jail, and it's harder to keep it structured and organized as far as the administration goes. So you got people coming and going. So, yeah, I don't know. What is it? Does he got a pico de gallo? I can't call it like an alcoholic. You never know what someone has on them. You never know what someone's in there for. You never know if someone's bullshitting just to get on the yard, to be a sleeper, to make something happen and keep you cracking. They might have some beef. So you might have slept with this old lady 3 days ago. It's too recent. So you need to let it simmer. So they keep everybody separated. They do the same thing in the Merced County Jail. We had 3 or 4 block at this point in time. I don't know which one they have. But it was an active Norteño block where they kept all the actives together. Then you had a GP, and it wasn't that the active Norteños weren't GP, it's just we were so deep we needed our own pod. And then you had a GP tier, which was 5 block, I think, or 2 block, I forget. Then you had a 1 block, which was all the sureños, and it was behind glass, the last 2 cells. And I'm going to tell you why. They kept it behind glass because when vatos would be going to court, people would be spitting back and forth and disrespecting each other. So the placas fed for no other reason, they should put up some glass. Because going through 1 block is how you get to the courthouse. So when the Northerners used to be walking down, bows and arrows. Things were happening, allegedly. Anyways, so that's the makeup of that. But the setup is different in Old Merced County Jail compared to Santa Rita, where Santa Rita is more of a pod setting. They got different pods. So you can only keep a certain amount of individuals. And they got a few general population yards. And like I said, they got a few PC yards. It is what it is. Anywhere you go, jail is jail and prison is prison. You have to stay on your 10 toes. You have to be ready because anything can happen. And it seems like, especially in Santa Rita, the mix is so deep. There's so many people coming from so many bigger cities. You would think there would be a lot more going on, a lot more to keep your eyes on. And I'm sure there is. You got to understand, man, Bay Area is very known for hustling. Okay, very known for that flavor in the water of hustling. People out there are trying to get $1 out of 15 cents. They're trying to make it happen. That's just how it's been traditionally forever. Man, Bay Area is, like I said, it's one of the nicest places in the world, but it's also one of the grimiest. You go out there, man, and if you don't know, you'll get boom-bangled or swizangled. You know what I mean? Straight up, word of the day, swizangled, menudo. This is just what it is. So you got to understand that when they throw all these type of individuals into one spot, one big county jail, one hub, orderly, game, one hub, when they throw you in one hub, there's going to be a lot of cutthroat shit going on. A willing and dealing and motherfucking slicing and dicing and stealing. Okay? But I wanted to talk about one thing that a homeboy told me. So I had a homeboy from Oakland. You know, he's from the dirty 30s out of Oakland. And he told me that one time he was in one of the pods, an active Norteño pod. Now, it wasn't just Norteños. There was Africanos there. There was a couple Asians, a couple of Usos. You got to understand there's a lot of Usos out of the EPA city, a lot of Italians, Samoans in the whole area of the Bay. He said, so that was the makeup. Everybody was pretty cool there. But there was one Africano brother that had got there that was actually from Acorns, which is a hood in Oakland. You know, and I guess he had burnt, you know, a homeboy, meaning a Norteño. Somewhere along the line, they ran into each other out in the city streets of Oakland, and he decided to run that way with the air, right? And he burnt the homeboy for whatever he burnt him for. So the Norteños were feeling some type of way. Now, in a situation like this, it's sticky. Let me give you the rundown. You know, in most cases, if you're going to move on anyone, you need papeles. You need paperwork, PW. That's a fact. In prison, in YA, in fucking juvenile hall, and placement, and wherever, if you're going to move on someone for the most part and do it in a vicious fashion, you need PW, paperwork, right? Because that's all that counts in there. All this boca and all this running your neck doesn't matter, bro. If you can't prove indubitably and beyond a shadow of a doubt that this individual's in bad standings, he did something incorrectly, you can't just wreck his career over that. Now, there's people that will manipulate certain situations to make it happen. And in this case, this is what happened. Because this Vato knew. So anyways, he started getting at the homeboys. He's like, hey, this Africano right here, bro, that just rolled up. He ain't no good, bro. He burnt me. He did this and he did that. And the homies were like, hey, you got some paperwork on it? And he's like, Charlie, bro, I ain't got paperwork, but man, fuck that fool, bro. Hey, I ain't gonna be functioning on the same fucking compa with this guy, the same pod, bro, just based on. Now, this is happening in Santa Rita. Of course, these Africanos are not really up to par and what's going on with the Norteños. They try to stay out of Norteño business just based on they don't want that smoke. They don't want that type of energy. They just want to do their thing. A little basketball set game, bump a little girl, you know it's true, little Milli Vanilli, and step out the way. Okay, now don't get it twisted. They'll fuck some motherfuckers off if they have to, but they're not trying to if they don't need to. You know, when it comes to the Norteños, brothers know, you know, you do you, we gonna do us over here. You know, we're gonna be over here bumping yuck mouth. You guys will be over there doing stuck mouth. Bang. And so anyways, the homies getting at the homies like, nah, fuck that, bro. You know what I mean? I just can't do it. And what Norteños do is if a homeboy is really that passionate about it, he's really that real, and the homeboy that's the llavero, basically the one that's, you know, doing the thing, will basically hear him out, you know, and get at certain homeboys, certain individuals, kites will fly, misses, wheelers or whatever, and they'll start to break it down and figure out what's going to happen. But what's going to happen is they formulated a plot and plan. The plan was we can't just move on this vault based on your words, you know. But if you could somehow initiate some type of aggression where this guy wants to trip with being slick and not doing it according to whatever, then we'll get off on all the brothers, right? And the homeboy was with it. So what he did was, I guess he started to mean mug or started to antagonize this individual. And it got to the point where this brother swung on him. Okay, when this brother swung on him, the homies were already ready. And all eyes on me. Attack, right? Mount up. And it was a cold black night, a clear bright. And they were like, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. And there was bodies flying and swinging. And I guess that was a deadly riot that happened, or melee in one of the pods, because 3 brothers got killed and 1 northerner got critically injured. He actually got fucked off real bad. Or no, excuse me, it was 2 brothers that got killed. And that was only because the northerners were ready to attack. Like I said, it was an old school setup. Old folsom shit. And that's how it went down. But that's how it goes down in Santa Rita. You got to understand, everybody there got a little bit of griminess in them. You know, everyone there got cutthroatish. That's the Bay Area for you. So, you know, deaths are dominant in that county. That county jail. Deaths are dominant in that area. And I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know if the placas are just letting shit go wild and letting shit happen. Or I don't know if they're really, and to be honest, if they're really paying attention to what's going on and they're just trying to make $1 out of 50 cents that day. Whatever the case may be, man, you don't want to go to Santa Rita. It's a very dangerous place. A lot of people think, I'm cool. I'll just go in there, man, and do my time. Or will you? Oh, you didn't know. So anyways, for the raza, man, that's just a little informative information, man. If you ever find yourself in the Bay Area with a flat tire, like my homeboy Cholo Trucker was one time, you know what I mean, left out there in Oakland with nowhere to go, vato, get the hell up out of there, man. Because if you get caught up and you go to Santa Rita County Jail, it could be your last days on earth. They don't play in that county jail. Anyways, with that being said, man, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about going out there, pushing, pulling, and striving for your gente and your familia, for the ones that you love the most. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do. Hit that thumbs up. If you like this, hit that thumbs down. If you don't, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to bring you the best content here on Gunners Collective that the Bang Bang can bring you on the day. You know what it is. Anyways, if you haven't seen Gunners Profiles yet, go tap into my other channel, Gunners Profiles, where we will be profiling gritty, itty, motherfucking monsters from the streets. You know what it is. The gun. Bang, bang. Oh, it's going down.